for people on the stage.
So you and I will look at each other,
Yeah.
and I'll do this for you, and we'll meet here.
Okay, yeah.
Or there.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Less
So
is
the
better.
tilt of the head is let's have a little contact.
You're the Zoom.
It's just better to
Head down.
less over the guitar.
I hear you, because a guitar player can hear it.
Yeah.
I'm not putting any percussion.
And this goes.
Yeah, I know.
And again, if I
But he plays loud. They both play Okay.
but it'll be less reverberant with the
Yes.
And I imagine there'll be it's one of those days.
Thank you, John. Do you want a cue sheet? Do you need a cue sheet?
There should be one.
Yeah, I know. I just made like a bigger one. I don't know if you want a bigger one. All right.
And I'll do both instruments. No, separate.
Okay.
I'll check. Thank you.
Okay. I'm going out of here.
Should we try it first? So you can do the concert? You can have mine if you want. I can just grab kind of slide on and off.
Sure.
I only do like 3 things.
So, is it the yellow or is it the or the orange? Okay, got it. Okay, great. Just bump me off. I'll be doing my best to follow along.
There you go. Thank you.
Oh, sure.
Joel teaches us that the old shall dream dreams and the youth shall see visions. And how wonderful that here in synagogue life we get to merge those dreams and those visions in our work together to turn 5784 into a better year than the one before. And we do that with the leadership of the teens that we see up here and the partnership with all of you as we turn to our miracles for daily life on the first page of our Siddur.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lasechvi vina lechavhin, bein yom uvein laila. Blessed is the Eternal, our God, ruler of the universe, who has implanted mind and instinct within every living being, who removes sleep from the eyes, slumber from the eyelids, who makes firm each person's steps, who provides clothes for the naked. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'esani bein chorchim. Blessed is the Eternal, our God, who has made me free, who brings freedom to the captive, who has made me a Jew, who girds our people Israel with strength, who crowns Israel with glory.
The soul you have given me, O God, is pure. You have created it, you have formed it, you have breathed it into me, and you shall sustain it within me. So long as I have breath, therefore I will give thanks to you, my God, and God of all ages, source of all creation, loving guide of every human spirit.
atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Blessed is the Eternal, our God, ruler of the universe, who halos us with mitzvot and who commands us to engage in the study of Torah. These are the obligations without measure, their fruits we eat now, their essence remains for us in the life to come. To honor our parents, to perform acts of loving kindness, to attend the house of study daily, to welcome the stranger, to visit the sick, to rejoice with the wedding couple, to console the bereaved, to pray with sincerity, to make peace where there is strife, but the study of Torah is equal to them all.
Divine Creator, we have come together to pray as a congregation. Each of us comes before you with special hopes and dreams.
Each of us has personal worries and concerns.
Each of us has a prayer no one else can utter.
Each of us brings praise no one else can offer.
Each of us feels a joy no one else can share.
Each of us has regrets which others cannot know.
And so we pray, if we are too weary, give us strength.
If we are discouraged, give us hope.
If we have forgotten how to pray, remind us.
If we have been careless of time, forgive us.
If our hearts have been chilled by indifference,
warm them with your memory and inspire us with the glowing spirit of your holiness.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah. Ve'almati rachirotei ve'amlich malchutei. V'chayech u'vyomechon u'vayedechol Beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, ubizman ka'ariv, ve'imeru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach, le'almaya, yitbarach, yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitba'ar, v'yitbarman, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitalel, v'yitalal, Shmei Kedusha Brehu, Leila Ulam Yitol Be'ata V'shirata, Tushbechata V'nemata, Damira Me'ama, Ve'imeru, Amen.
Please rise for the Baruch Hu.
Yalla
be seated.
Haftarah et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavecha ubechol nafshecha ubechol meodecha v'hayu hadavarim ha'ele asher anochi metavecha hayom alevavecha v'shinantam levatecha b'dibartam bam V'shivtecha b'beitecha uvlechtecha v'derech u'shofecha uvkumecha u'shartam leod al yadecha lehayu letotafot b'neinecha uvtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai V'yitem kadoshim Elohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim leod lahem Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem
because today is not only Rosh Hashanah but also Shabbat. So we celebrate both in our service this morning. We invite you all to join with us.
Hashamayim v'et ha'aretz
imperfection, my difficulty in saying what is truly in my heart, my doubt that I can really bring change to myself. At this moment, it takes chutzpah to begin to pray at all. And so I fall back on words of the tradition. Thus does the Amidah always start with the reminder that we stand on the merit, insight, and teaching of our ancestors. I take the guidance of those who came before me and begin to walk their path. I put myself in their words and let their words lead me to my own.
Please rise.
Melech mimit u'mechayeh u'matz mi'af
proclaim the sacred power of this day. It is awesome and full of dread. Now the divine judge looks upon our deeds and determines our destiny. Freely we choose, and what we have chosen to become stands in judgment over what we may yet hope to be. In our choices we are not always free, but if we only make the effort to turn, every force of goodness within and without will help us while we live to escape that death of the heart which leads to sin.
And who by fire, who by water, who in the sunshine, who in the nighttime, who by high ordeal, who by common trial, who in your merry, merry month of May, who by very slow decay, and who shall I say is calling?
And who by lonely slip, who in least realms of love, who by avalanche, who by power, who for his greed, who for her hunger, and who shall I say is calling?
And who by brave ascent, who by accident, who in solitude, who in the smear, who by his lady's command, who by her own hand, who in mortal chains, who by power, and who shall I say is calling?
On Rosh Hashanah it is written, on Yom Kippur it is sealed, but repentance, prayer, and righteous giving temper judgment's severe decree.
תמיד עבודת ישראל. ישראל עמך, אל קרוב לכל קוראיו, ונעלבתך וכוננו, שפוך רוחך עלינו, ותחזינה עינינו בשובך לציון. לציון ברחמים. ברוך אתה אדוני המחזיר שכינתו
We take a moment for silent prayer and meditation.
We continue our service with Seder Kriyat HaTorah for this Yom Tov and Shabbat. We read the Torah, the famous story of the Akedah, where Abraham is told to sacrifice his son, but he is stopped. Don't worry. If you think the Torah is boring, you haven't read it lately, because it is really exciting. And today's Torah portion is kind of one of those top 10 highlights, I think. So listen closely as we continue with our Torah service.
אין כמוך ואלוהים אדוני, אין כמעשיך. מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים, ומשלתך בכל דור ודור. אדוני מלך, אדוני מלך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום.
Please rise.
We call you Avino, as a loving parent, forgive our sins and failings, and reach for us as we reach for you. We call you Malkeinu, as a wise ruler, teach us to add our strength to your love, that we may redeem this world and work to build a better future. To this vision, to the possibility, to the task, we offer ourselves anew.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Chamol aleinu, Yalol aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Kalei Tever, Vecherev Ra'av, Me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Kalei Kol Tzar, Umasin, Me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Kotveinu beSefer Chaim Tovim. Avinu Malkeinu, Chadesh aleinu, Chadesh aleinu, Shana Tova. Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu, Shema Koleinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Choneinu v'aneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Choneinu v'aneinu, ki en banu ma'asim. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh
So not to put too much pressure on this man, Sam Graber, but you are in store if you haven't ever heard him read Torah. It brings the story alive in such a wonderful way. And we are thrilled to welcome him back annually for us to hear the story of the Akedah, not only through the words. You see, so often people say, well, what did that mean? Actually, prayer and worship are not only in the words, they're actually in the emotion that it's elicited through song, through chanting, not always understanding with our heads, but always understanding with our hearts. And so, I turn the Torah over to you. Our seniors are going to come forward, right? Yes. Good. Sometimes. And they are going to bless the Torah as they start their senior years. No, you can't be seniors. You can't leave us. But we've got a whole year, so we're good. We're good. Okay.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol hamim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vayehi hakar hadivarim ahele v'ha'elohim nisaha et Avraham vayomer elav Avraham vayomer hinini vayomer kagnaha et binchat yetitkah asher ahavta yitzkah v'lech lekah eretz Moria v'alehu sham leolam Alekah de'arim asher umar alecha Vayeshkem Avraham baboker v'yakavosh ad hamaro vayikach et shnei na'arav ito v'et Yitzchak beno v'yivakayat se'olav vayakam vayelek el hamakom asher amar lo ha'elohim Bayom ashlishi, Vayisav Avraham et einav, V'yaret hamakom merakov, Vayomer Avraham el na'arav, Shvu lachem po imahamor, V'ani v'na'ar nechad ko, V'nishtakavev v'nashuv alechem, Vayikach Avraham et atzei haolam, vayasem Yitzchak beno, vayikach biyado et ha'esh v'et kamachelet, vayoku shnechem yakdav, vayomer Yitzchak el Avraham aviv, vayomer avihi, vayomer hineni beni, vayomer Hinei ha'esh v'chaitzim v'ayaseh le'olam. Vayomer Avraham Elohim yireh lo aseh le'olam beni vayoku shnechem yakdav. Vayavo el hamakom asher amar lo Elohim Vayiven Sham Avraham et hamizbeach v'yavrok et ha'etzim v'yakod et Yitzchak beno vayasem oto al hamizbeach mimahal la'etzim vayishlach Avraham et yado vayikach et kamachelet lishkot et beno vayikra elav Malach Adonai min hashamayim vayomer Avraham
Vayomer hinini, Vayomer, al tishlach yadka el hanar, ve'el taslo me'uma, hi ata yadati, ki arei Elohim ata, v'lo asachta tabinachat yichid kami meni, v'yisav Avraham et einav, v'yarvik hine ayil, achar nechaz v'azvak v'karnav, v'yelech Abraham v'yikach et ayil, v'yahalu lecho takat beno. Vayikra Avraham, Shema makomahu Adonai Yireh, Asher Yemeh Hayom, Bechar Adonai Yireh. Vayikra Melach Adonai El Avraham, Shenit min Hashemayim. Vayomer ki nishbati Adonai, Ya'an asher asita et hadavar hazeh v'lo asakta tebinachat yikideka ki ba'arecha v'rechecha ve'arvar be'etzarcha kekokvei hashemayim v'kakol asher al safat hayam Vayirah saraka heit sha'ar doivav V'yet baruchu v'zaraka kol goyei ha'aretz kev asher shema v'koli Vayasav Avraham el Narav Vayokumu yakdal be'er shava Vayishev Avraham bivir Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah temet, v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
And now, while the Torah is out, it is traditional to offer a mishaberach, a prayer and blessing for those who are in need of healing, whether it is physical, emotional, spiritual healing. This is a prayer for each one of us and everyone we know who is in need of our prayers today.
Misheberach avoteinu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Another one who has to come back every year. Please rise as we lift the Torah.
זאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל, על פי אדוני ויעזרו אשר.
We now continue with our Haftarah, which you can follow along with on page 13 in your Machzor. Our Haftarah tells us about a woman who prays. It was changing the world at the time of our Haftarah. Now it is part of our community and culture. Thank goodness.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratza v'divrehem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai Habocher b'Torah uv'Moshe avdo uv'Yisrael amo uv'invi'eh ha'emet v'tzedek.
Elkanah had 2 wives. The first one's name was Hannah, and the second was Peninnah. Peninnah had 2 sons, but Hannah had no sons. Elkanah went sometimes to Shiloh to pray to God and would return with gifts for Peninnah and to all his sons and daughters. But to Hannah he would give twice as much, for he loved her even though she had not bore him any children. Each year Hannah would go up to the temple and weep that she had no children. Her husband would ask her why she was so sad. "Why do you cry, Hannah? Why don't you eat? Is your heart troubled? Is my love for you not greater than even 10 children?" One time Hannah was at the temple eating and drinking when Eli the priest was there. She was in a bitter mood and prayed loudly as she cried. She made a vow. "God of heaven and earth, if you can see my state of need, if you remember me and give me a child, I shall dedicate him to you for lifelong service, and his hair shall never be cut."
As she prayed these words, the priest Eli saw Hannah moving her lips, but because she was speaking to herself, he did not hear her words and thought she was drunk. "Put away your wine," Eli said to Hannah. But Hannah answered, "I am a woman who is angry and upset. No wine or liquor have I drunk. I was only pouring out my soul to God. It is only that I am terribly distressed." Eli answered, "Then go in peace, and may the God of Israel give you what you ask, whatever you request from God." Hannah replied, "So might I find favor with you, Eli." Hannah left, and she was no longer troubled. Elkanah and Hannah arose early the next morning, and they prayed before God, and then returned to their house in Ramah. Elkanah was intimate with his wife Hannah, and God remembered her.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Tzur kol ha'olamim, tzadik bechol hadorot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer ve'oseh, hamdaber umkayem, shekol devarav, emet v'tzedek, al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah, ve'al ha'nevi'im, ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh, ve'al yom hazikaron hazeh, shenatata lanu
Adonai Eloheinu, likdusha v'limnucha, lechavod ultifaret al hakol. Adonai Eloheinu, anachnu modim lach, umvarchim otach, yitbarach shimcha, befi kol chai, tamid leolam va'ed, udvarcha emet v'kayam lahad. Baruch ata Adonai, mekadesh hashabat v'Yisrael v'yom hazikaron.
So now we continue with the shofar service. I welcome Jonathan Singer up, who will sound the shofar for all of us. As I like to remind everyone on this Rosh Hashanah that sounding the shofar is not the mitzvah, because then only one person at a time would fulfill it. But actually hearing it is the mitzvah. So the rabbis say, listen, they had a lot of time on their hands. If someone's passing by a synagogue, not intending to go into services, I don't know anyone who would do that, and here's the shofar, have they fulfilled their obligation? And what do you think the answer is? Absolutely. Absolutely. They have fulfilled the obligation because they have heard it. Now, there are many ways of hearing, correct? The deaf community teaches us that vibrations is a way of hearing, right? Those people who are not able to come because of illness or incarceration or other things. The rabbis spoke about each one of those situations. And so what is it? We listen extra hard, extra seriously for those people who could not be here. Now, I know there are many people who are on Zoom, so they will hear it. This is a new reality, but we are going to listen for all those who are unable to hear the shofar this morning as we continue on page 14.
When something important needs to be said, it is announced with a shofar. When the 10 Commandments were given, a shofar sounded. When an emergency threatened a community, a shofar sounded. Today the shofar sounds. Today the shofar announces this important message. In the 7th month, on the 1st day of the month, there shall be a sacred assembly, a cessation from work, a day of commemoration.
Uvachodesh hashvi'i be'echad lachodesh mikra kodesh yehiyeh lachem kol malechet avodah lo ta'asu yom taruach yehiyeh lachem Baruch ata Adonai melech al kol haaretz mikadesh hashabat vi Yisrael vayom hazikaron.
Please rise for the first set of calls.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lishma kol shofar. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sheheyanu v'kiyamanu v'higiyanu lezman hazeh.
Hear the call of the shofar, a strong, urgent reminder of God's desire for us in the new year. Help us to be strong,
to heed your words, to live good lives, and to be kind to one another.
Tekiah awakens us to a new year of possibilities and growth.
May we heed the shofar blast with our ears and our hearts and with our actions.
Tekiah Shevarim Truah Tekiah Tekiah Shevarim Tekiah Tekiah Teruah
Shivarim is the sound of crying. The Torah proclaims that God heard our cry when our people were enslaved and remembered the covenant with our ancestors.
Today we renew our covenant with our God. Today we promise to be better listeners.
Today is a day to recall our glorious history and to pray for a bright and glowing future.
May the shofars So it is traditional on Shabbat in traditional synagogues and throughout much of the Jewish world that there's a second day of Rosh Hashanah. So when the first day falls on a Shabbat, we don't hear the shofar. So to honor our year-long celebration, recognition of Shabbat, we will hear just the calls for the second set of calls of the shofar, but no sound will be heard.
Tekiah, Shivarim Truah, Tekiah, Tekiah, Shivarim, Tekiah, Tekiah, Teruah, Tekiah.
We wouldn't keep the Tekiah Gedolah from you, don't. So it is the third set now, shofar.
Teruah is the broken sound, reminding us that we are not perfect.
Give us the strength, O God, to improve our behavior and to be patient with faults of others.
Torah has been given to us as a guide, with teachings we can put into practice each and every day.
Let us learn in order to do and rejoice in the instruction that is ours. Tekiah, Shivarim Truah, Tekiah, Tekiah, Shivarim, Tekiah, Tekiah, Teruah, Tekiah Gedolah.
So you might not know that our shofar sounder is the cantor's husband. And now we return the Torah to the ark. Yehallelu et Shem Adonai ki niskav shemo levado. Let us praise the name of Adonai, whose name alone is exalted.
Remember
So we want to thank all the people behind the scenes who have made this possible. Of course, our entire staff who are always ready to take care of all of us, of Rabbi Moss, who is going to come up and give a sermon, and I'm just giving him some time to take off his guitar. Ben Vitone, who is back. We love it. We love it. Danny, who is Wallace, who's in the front row making sure everyone knows where they're supposed to be. And this incredible, incredible TIPTY choir. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi Zimmerman. And also thank you because the rabbis all agreed we'd give sermons about Shabbat, but we didn't talk to each other about what we'd be saying. And Rabbi Zimmerman did not give my sermon last night. Phew. But she actually gave one that complements quite nicely. So we'll get into it. Shana Tova, Shabbat Shalom. We Reform Jews, we make life hard on ourselves. We feel a need to make everything meaningful. We try not to say, that's the way it's been done, so I just have to do it that way now. We all question our assumptions, our religious assumptions, our beliefs, and our rituals. And by doing that, we are constantly reforming our tradition. I've been experiencing this myself as I prepare for my upcoming wedding. You'd think that among catering, guest list, music, that the easy thing for a rabbi would be the ketubah, the marital contract. Ketubahs used to be very simple, always specifying the same obligations. But now when I counsel other couples, and when I went through it myself, most couples just can't grab a ketubah off the shelf. They, and Leah and I, felt we need to find our own language that connects ourselves to tradition, but is fully true for us and the agreement that we are making. A ketubah describes Brit HaNisu'in, the covenant of marriage. A brit, a covenant, is more than a transaction. I give you this, you give me that, and more than just a contract. You're going to service my roof for the next year. A brit creates a formal agreement that also carries a sense of relationship and connection that goes beyond any tit-for-tat transaction. We sang of a brit earlier today. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. The people of Israel will guard Shabbat and make Shabbat for all generations a brit olam, an eternal covenant. But what is in that brit? Rabbi Zimmerman spoke last night about 4 things that we receive by engaging with Shabbat. And now I want to talk about four things that we have to give as our side of this covenant. What do we need to do in this relational agreement with God, with the source of meaning, and with each other? Jewish tradition has specified literally thousands of laws about Shabbat, but I want to explore a 4-word summary that Maimonides provides us. He says 4 concepts were said about Shabbat, 2 from the Torah and 2 from the prophets. In the Torah, we have shamor v'zachor, to guard and to remember. In the prophets, we have oneg and kavod, to delight and to honor. To guard, to remember, to delight, and to honor. Shamor, to guard, to keep, to protect, to preserve. Some understand Shamor as all those strictures that we know of for Shabbat. The do-dos and the don't-dos. Read the Torah portion, pray, say Kiddush before your evening meal, before your lunch. And the don'ts: don't build, don't spend, don't transform the physical world. Shamor here then means to keep to these rules, protecting Shabbat's sanctity. Reformed Jews need to investigate these traditional laws because they help form Shabbat's container and connect us to Jews around the world. Ultimately, however, I think we are guarding Shabbat by guarding and keeping its relevance and centrality, saying that no matter how our lives and society changes, we are going to keep Shabbat. Achad Ha'am famously says that it's reciprocal. More than the Jewish people guard Shabbat, Shabbat has guarded us throughout the ages. It is our guardian. The other major term in the Torah is Zachor et Yom HaShabbat, commonly translated as to remember Shabbat, which is a strange idea because I don't think forgetfulness is really the issue that is being discussed. Perhaps Zachor means to remember what Shabbat represents, which it says in Deuteronomy, remember that you were slaves in Egypt, so give this noble day of rest to yourselves and to your servants. That's one way we can Zachor, is to remember the origins of this practice. Later rabbis understood Zachor differently. They said that Shabbat should be always on your mind, even on a Sunday or a Thursday or at the beginning of Shabbat or at the end of Shabbat. Shabbat should always be a memory and an awareness in our mind. They share the simple tradition that if you see a really good piece of meat or a beautiful fruit at the market, buy it, but don't consume it that day. Save it. Keep it in mind for the nobility of Shabbat. In this use, Rabbi Larry Hoffman teaches that a better translation of Zocher is not memory, but a pointer. After all, our memories point towards some time in the past, but here a memory is pointing, Zocher is pointing towards Shabbat. We live our lives with Shabbat as an orientation. Our compass points towards Shabbat. How does what I do throughout the week help myself and others enter the spirit of Shabbat, which tradition says in itself is a taste of the world to come? Aviva Zornberg relates that in Kabbalistic imagery, the classic mapping of the world yields 6 compass points. North, south, well, I don't know where north is, let's see. North, south, east, and west, up and down. But the 7th point, the center, the nub of the world, is where God resides. So it is with Shabbat and the 6 days of the week. The 7th of the series contains hidden meaning and is the origin of God's voice. In the Chadodi, every Friday night we chant that it was the final doing of creation, but it was all thought of in the beginning. And so Zocher is to live with the 6 days pointing towards the 7th. The great prophet Isaiah, who was consumed with the political injustice issues of his day, it might seem surprising that he too spoke about Shabbat. One might say, what good is a day of rest to Isaiah, who in today's terms we could call an activist, we might call him a social justice warrior, or maybe we'd still just call him a prophet? Well, he spoke actually about this 3rd principle of Shabbat, of Oneg Shabbat, a deep enjoyment and a delight in Shabbat. He recognized that people need this crafted time for bliss, that one can't just work to no end, struggle against impossible odds, fight a fight that might not finish in your own generation, like changing an oppressive political structure, and fight day in and day out, but never experience joy. Rather, we need to have joy along the way. And Shabbat gives us that opportunity each week to say, I know that there is much left to improve in the world. For me to accomplish, or study, or create, or plant, or fix, but I am going to dip into that honey jar right now and just enjoy what is. It's really hard for many of us, I know. And the structure of Shabbat, that it isn't about humans scheduling a vacation a few weeks in advance, rather it's about a divinely ordained weekly moment. This structure saves many of us from the greater pain we could be under. And finally, the 4th concept also comes from Isaiah, when he tells us that we need to bring kavod, honor, to Shabbat. What does it mean to honor someone or to honor something? In Hebrew, the word kavod means weightiness, heaviness, that it has presence in front of you. And so you treat that person, that thing, that concept, that way as valuable. You wouldn't let it fall down or be disrespected. And you take extra actions to show that it truly means something. There's something as simple as when a grandparent is in the room, you honor the seat that they have chosen. It seems like a formality, just kind of a show of sorts, but it's a demonstration of what is valued. So too with Shabbat, there are small things that we can do that demonstrate to ourselves, to our children, to our friends, that Shabbat is held with importance. Dressing differently, setting the table differently, greeting each other differently. These are all important honorings, that this is a time to connect with our inner spirit, with God as tradition has described God, or with the sense of divine that we are still struggling to articulate. The pursuit of these sentiments on their own is to be honored. It's really not the same as just pursuits of leisure or consumption. We are allowed to do holy work as we honor Shabbat. It's not a complete rest, doing nothing. It's a time when productive work is prohibited, but soul work is welcome. Human-to-human work, the work of relationships, is welcome. Deep thinking is welcome, and the hard work of prayer too. These are some of the most important aspects of work, if you want to call it, in our lives. We often don't make time for them as we pursue the material work that we feel obligated to. And so especially as we enter into these 10 days of Teshuvah, make this whole period about investigating those parts of your lives as well. And so this Rosh Hashanah, your rabbis are talking to you about Shabbat, because Rosh Hashanah is here, and we are celebrating. But it won't be back for another year's time. And so in this year, we hope that you feel invited into Shabbat. And we hope you become someone who invites others into Shabbat, Jews and non-Jews, friends and new acquaintances, to invite a greater spirit of Shabbat into this world. The world needs it. It needs the slowdown, it needs the music, the community, the food, the wisdom, and the prayer. The rabbis even offer a radical teaching that if Jews, just the Jewish people, could truly keep Shabbat just once, it's never yet happened, that we would reach the Messianic era through that action. For me, that doesn't mean that if we all kept Shabbat, the world's problems would vanish, but rather that we be approaching all of life with the spirit of what's truly important and the orientation to face all of life's challenges. And that, I feel, would be radical and messianic enough. This invitation into Shabbat requires all of our participation. We are all in this brit. And I know that among us, there are people who will lean into these 4 different concepts, these different behaviors of Shabbat. Some of us will defend, keep, guard Shabbat, making sure that it continues to be what it was. And some of us will be the rememberers, keeping Shabbat in mind throughout the 25 hours of Shabbat and the Sheshet Yemei HaMaaseh, the 6 days of our week. Others will bring kavod to Shabbat, a sense of majesty, a sense that God is present, let's be at our best. And others will bring oneg, just pure joy. Some of us, as we think about how we often approach Shabbat, maybe we can say, oh, I'm usually in that category. Maybe this year, I'll explore one of the other 4 in what I can bring to Shabbat. As for joy, for oneg, the teens around me who contribute on all 4 marks, but they are their best when it is this last one, oneg, and joy. I saw it in rehearsals, the first rehearsal, when we first sang Vishamru. Unrehearsed, I just hit the chord, and the energy poured forth in joy as they pulled on their Shabbat experiences of 15, 16, 17, 18 years. And they saw a little bit of the joy that I can express through Shabbat at Camp Tico this summer, when they helped me end Shabbat services with a Shabbat Sharap. So to conclude, let's have a little Oneg Shabbat, a little overflow of joy. And I'm going to invite them and all of you to boom, clap, boom, boom, clap, as we go through this. So let's try that. Boom, clap, boom, boom. Don't rush, nice and slow. Okay. Congregation got it? First of all, I must admit that I didn't come up with all of this bit. Some of this rap came from ChatGPT, but credit goes to me for this delivery. Boom, clap, boom, boom, clap, boom, clap, boom, boom, clap. Oh Shabbat, a sacred delight, a day of rest, a spiritual flight. In the midst of the week's chaotic chatter, we find our peace. It's Shabbat, it matters. We'll come back to this chorus. You'll sing it with me each time. Rosh Hashanah is here. A new year begins with hopes and prayers for forgiven sins. Before we explore introspection deep, let's talk about Shabbat. It's ours to keep. No work, no worries, just family and friends. As the week's trouble comes to their ends, with challah and wine, we bless and break bread. A taste of heaven right here. It's said, O Shabbat, a sacred delight. A day of rest, a spiritual flight. In the midst of the week's chaotic chatter, we find our peace. It's Shabbat, it matters. Boom, clap, boom, boom, clap, boom, clap. Shamor, the defenders, with hearts so strong, guarding the holy Sabbath all day long. Cherishing this day, a treasure without end, keeping Shabbat as our eternal friend. Zachor, the rememberers, with voices clear, recalling Shabbat's origins year by year. In stories and songs, they pass down the lore, Shabbat's legacy forevermore. O Shabbat, O Shabbat.
A day of rest, a spiritual flight. In the midst of the week's chaotic chatter, we find our peace in Shabbat, it matters.
Oneg, joy bringers with laughter and cheer, they celebrate Shabbat with loved ones near. With songs and with dance, they lift spirits high. In Shabbat's embrace, old sorrows say goodbye. Lastly, kavod, with honor and grace, they set a table for Shabbat, a sacred place. With candles aglow and blessings profound, they honor Shabbat, where holiness is found. Shamor, Zachor, oneg and kavod, defend, remember, enjoy, honor God. You've all now received the Shabbat invitation. So RSVP with the whole Jewish nation. O Shabbat, a sacred delight. A day of rest, a spiritual flight. In the midst of the week's chaotic chatter, we find our peace. It's Shabbat, it matters. O Shabbat, a sacred delight. A day of rest, a spiritual flight. In the midst of the week's chaotic chatter, we find our peace. It's Shabbat, it matters.
To share, thank you, Rabbi Moss. To share with us some more ways that they find joy here at Temple, I invite our TIPTY presidents, Marilee and Esme, to speak to us.
We don't have a rap, but we have something. L'Shana Tova. My name is Esme Michelson, and I'm a sophomore at Southwest High School in Minneapolis.
My name is Marilee Monroe, and I'm a senior at Wayzata High School, and we are your TIPTY co-presidents for the 2023-2024 year. TIPTY is quite literally Temple Israel's program for teen youths. All Temple Israel teens are welcomed and encouraged to participate.
Being in this program, we have both realized how important it is for Jewish teens to connect with other Jewish teens and feel a part of a Jewish community. Because I don't connect with many Jewish people at my school or in day-to-day life, being with people who understand my family's history, holidays, and traditions has helped me become more comfortable with my identity. I get to feel so-called normal in this group with shared experiences, and I've also realized that I have my own culture that I can share with others and feel proud. TIPTY has become such a vital setting in our lives by having other Jewish teens going through the same issues, challenges, and at even times, discrimination. We feel valued and understood with each other in this community and this group. We're able to connect, feel welcome, and wanted. Each of us has a place here.
Right now, more than ever, we find it really important to connect to our roots in the Jewish community and empathize with each other. It's super important that not only we, but all Jewish teens feel welcome and safe in their own community. Before I came to TIPTY, I didn't have any Jewish friends, and I really struggled with feeling different and othered at times. When I found this community, I felt like I had a place and people who understood and empathized with me.
TIPTY is a great place, not only because of the strength in the community, but also because of the fun activities we do. We've gotten to bond through our legendary donut crawl, bonfires, limo rides, and even an escape room. And yes, as you can see, we escaped. We both have made so many memories through TIPTY, discovered more about ourselves and our community, learned life lessons, and had fun.
If you have a teen or know one who might be interested in joining a welcoming community, tell them to reach out to one of us, sign up, or check out our upcoming activities on the TIPTY Instagram. They've literally got nothing to lose and everything to gain. From the awesome times I've had making friends to the fun big events we do, and even just getting ice cream together. TIPTY is such a great program, and it is a privilege to be a part of it. Thank you for your time, and Lashana Tova.
We ask that at the completion of the service, you allow the TIPTY choir and clergy to exit first through the back, and families, the TIPTY choir will meet you in the lobby after they put their books downstairs for their next service. As you leave the sanctuary, you will see that there are envelopes that are available for your food shelf donation. We ask that you take one and bring it back with the donation on Yom Kippur. And following our 10:30 family service and our 11:45 services, we will be at Lake of the Isles Parkway and 22nd Street for Tashlich. You can come with us from here and walk together or meet us there. And we hope to see you on October 1st for the grand opening of Camp Tico from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. It is going to be a fun morning, and you'll get to see the beautiful new buildings and way that camp has been transformed. Invite everyone to please rise as we turn to the Aleinu on page 16.
Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
We call to mind the following people who have died in recent days and months: Harold Wibbins, Nancy Malman, Diana Eidelcope, Daniel Goldberg, Larry Kreidberg, Maya Dvoskin, James Ehrlich, Chris Benjamin, Barbara Siegel, Muriel Posner, Barbara Harris, and Mark Rosenberg. And we link their names to those whose yortites are commemorated: Harold Aaron, Philip Apple, Celia Atlas, Arik Averbach, Celia Baker, Samuel Baker, Jenny Bursrow, Dr. Charles Sheldon Bland, Sophie Block, Victor Brank, William H. Bunyan, Bernice Feitler, Albert Fidel, Jack Freeman, Mark Friedson, Maurice B. Goldstein, Eva J. Goodman, Zelda Green Harris, Louis S. Grodnick, Rose D. Halpern, Edward Henkin, Mary Lee Ingber, Irma Kaplan, Zena Kaplan, George M. Katz, Jacqueline Kunyan Newman, Sherwin Sherm Lebowitz, Vera Lisogorsky, Max Nadler, Donald Perwin, Donald Rosen, Doris Rosen, Dorothy Rosen, Julia Salida, Mary Shanling, Ronnie Joy Sherman, Rosalind Siegel, Michael Tankelevich, Walter Touchfarber, Rita Voss, Robert Winter, and Marlene York. In the memories of all those named and all those whom we hold in our hearts, we continue with the mourners Kaddish together. Yit Gadal v'Yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah V'Alma Divrach Hirutei V'Amlich Malchutei B'Chai Achon U'Vyom Echon U'V'Chaye Dechol Beit Yisrael Ba'agala Uzman Kari V'Imru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mibarach Leolam Omelo Maya. Yitbarak Vishtabak Vitbar Vitramam Vitnase. Vitadar Vitale Vitalal Shmei Dekudasha Brihu. La'ela Minko Birchata Bashirata. Tushbachata Benechemata. Damiran Bialma Imru. Amen. Yehi Shloma Rabba Min Shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'al Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Ose shalom v'romav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al Yisrael v'imru. Amen.
Justice and righteousness flow like a stream. The old and the young shall see visions and dreams, and what we dream shall yet come true. When that day comes by Yom HaHu, by Yom HaHu, and on that day I will wipe all tears away. Sorrow and pain will all be gone, and my name shall be one.
They shall not hurt and destroy in your holy place. Your will shall be known to the whole human race. In their lips and their hearts, so they'll know what to do when that day comes by Yom HaHu. By Yom HaHu, and on that day I will wipe all tears away. Sorrow and pain will all be gone, and my name it shall be one. The spear will break and the chariot burn. The hearts of the parents to children will turn, and children to parents, and all turn to you. When that day comes by Yom HaHu, by Yom HaHu, and on that day I will wipe all tears away. Sorrow and pain will all be gone, and my name it shall be one.
Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'Imotenu Adonai, our God and God of our foremothers and our forefathers. Who said that Jews don't have rhythm? Thank God we hired one who did and had a backup plan for it. It is wonderful to be together to celebrate Shabbat, come back on our next Shabbat and next as we celebrate creation and the world that we want to create together for the future. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru. Amen. May God, who creates peace in the heavens, bring peace to all of us on this Rosh Hashanah that falls on Shabbat, and this Shabbat that falls on Rosh Hashanah, and may we all celebrate together. Happy New Year and Shabbat Shalom.